My name's Dan Daly with SPX Flow, and I'm in the aftermarket product management team. So, again, thanks for joining me on this Friday afternoon. And we are recording this, so after the meeting, I'll get that up on the eSales channel. That's probably the best place for everyone to access, and then your colleagues or anybody else can view the video as well. So, just to go over really I wanted to share this PowerPoint which I had in the meeting invite, and also go through a live demo, and we'll
Hey
take any
Jason,
questions either as they come up or at the end time
I
for Q and
didn't.
A
Let
as
me
well.
check with Lindsay.
And I'm going to go ahead and mute
Did you
everybody.
call Jason?
Okay, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat too, and then I'll try to get to everybody's questions. And if I can't answer something, I will be sure to get that answer for you and get back to you. So again, thanks and welcome the Philadelphia Mixing Solutions e-commerce platform. And what I wanted to talk through today is kind of how to use the platform, why to use the platform, and what it's really all about. So we'll kind of jump right into it here. Um, one of the one of the first things I want to say is actually bullet number 5. The PMSL e-commerce platform. Prior to the acquisition of SPX Flow of PMSL, this was the solution that we were using for our channel partners and also end user customers. Being part of SPX Flow now, there are 2 other solutions that are much more advanced in many ways, and we're going to be moving to those over the coming months and into next year. And so, from an e-commerce perspective for end user customers, the Lightning Hybris solution is something that got rolled out last year, and we're going to be working to make that robust and have PMSL products on that as well, and really launch that to everybody and to our customers. More to come on that throughout the year. And then the other one that most of you, it's probably near and dear to your hearts, is the eSales platform. I'm actually working right now with the sales team and the IT teams and the other business units to get the PMSL parts loaded onto eSales. And once that's on there, just like if you're quoting Lightning aftermarket parts, you'll be able to bring up the PMSL parts, add them to a quote, send that quote to the customer, and then also the internal customer service team can interact with the quote as well if there's questions or if RFQs are needed and such. So those are both 2 items that are kind of in the works. And so right now, we wanted to give you a solution that would help identify the PMSL parts. And specifically for PMSL, so thinking of legacy Lightning channel partners that maybe didn't have this access to the PMSL part numbers before, this is certainly, I think, a tool that'll be helpful going forward. So, and with that said, on the screen here, ways to use the e-commerce platform. So you can certainly direct an end user customer to register an account and purchase directly. You can also, number 2, create a quote using e-commerce by logging into your account and making a PDF of the shopping cart. And I'll be showing that in the live demo. Number 3, you can just log into e-commerce, see what the price is, and then using your own letterhead, send that quote to the customer. So if that's your SOP as a company, you can send your letterhead with the quote that you get from e-commerce, the price and the lead time. And number 4, if none of the above options suffice, you can email the csr.aftermarket PMSL at spxflow.com and wait for the quote to be returned. So obviously you're kind of jumping into the queue when you're exercising that option. And so obviously it'll be quicker to self-serve if possible, and that's the whole point of doing this training today. But certainly when you get stuck or something doesn't make sense, please utilize the team there and they'll be able to help you. All right, and just moving on Moving on through here. Really, so focus on your business, not on purchasing parts. So, as we'll see in the demo, you can drill down to the exact part that's needed, and we have engineering cut sheets, kind of like bubble sheets that we have the part number and the bubble number listed on the diagram. Um, you can purchase at an agent discount level if you're doing a buy sell resell opportunity. So that is possible. Quickly order recommended spare parts, and we have various recommended spare parts sections for that. Order anytime, anywhere. You can pay with credit card or upload a purchase order, and this works for the end user customers as well. Um, credit card, there's really no dollar limit on that. An uploaded purchase order, it's subject to the terms and conditions that are set up for that end user customer. But there's a $200 value. The minimum value for the uploaded purchase orders, and we'll talk through that as we do the demo. Ship multiple methods, including collect, self-service account maintenance, download IOM manuals. So this is a nice way to download an IOM manual. And so maybe you're having a customer that's asking you for that. Either they can self-serve and get it themselves, or you can pull it down for them. And again, wouldn't have to wait for the CSR team to get back to you. So that's a quick way to do that. Then there's also, we have a YouTube video that's kind of a tutorial as well. So to get started, really, there's two different ways. Either on the Philly Mixing website, there's like a parts store icon there. It's a little shopping cart. You can click on that, or you can go to shop.philmixers.com, and that'll take you to the same place. And as seen on the screen here, you can basically create a new account, or you can edit your account details, or if you forgot your password as well. So all those options are available up front. And then once you're into the program, and again, we're going to be going through the demo here. This would be an example of the kind of the bubble drawing or the cut sheet, if you will. And all these little bubble numbers are all hot spots that you can hover over, and then you can see exactly what you're talking about there. So button head cap screw, with the description, the price, the weight, and you can add the part to your cart right from there. And can I have someone just confirm? Can you still hear me? I just had a bad network quality
Yes, we
message.
can, Dan.
You're doing
Okay.
okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. That darn internet, right? All right, moving along here. So this is where it's showing the agent discount levels for buy resell. And so it's basically the discount is less what the commission would be for the part. And so the buy resell opportunity wouldn't generate commission on the back end because you're buying it and then reselling to the customer. So if that's something that would make sense for your transaction for your customer, that is a possibility. And then also for what we'll see this the recommended spare parts. I just have a screenshot here for a BSER 12, some of the bearing kits too, that you can easily just go in and grab those and throw those into your cart. All right, order anytime, anywhere. And then just a couple of technicalities here with paying, like I said, with credit card. We use PayPal currently as the payment gateway. That does not mean you or the end user customer needs a PayPal account. You can check out as a guest, but it just kind of goes through PayPal. And so if somebody asks, they don't actually have to have a PayPal account. They would just enter their credit card like normal and check out with that, or uploading purchase orders directly into the site. There's a attachment feature that you would just upload what that is, and then of course the customer service team, when that order would come into the system, they'd have to review the purchase order. If there's any questions or concerns, that they would respond back to you. As far as purchase orders, they would be made out to Philadelphia Mixing Solutions LLC, and so the information's there, and then the remit to as well. And then again, we'll see this in our demo, but multiple shipping methods as far as collect, UPS, next day air, UPS ground commercial. One thing that's nice about this is if you're choosing collect, but if you're choosing any of the UPS options, that'll give you the estimate of what those charges are, and that's actually interfacing with our UPS account via an API. So you can see what those charges are, or the end user customer would see if they wanted to expedite shipping because of urgent need. And then moving right along, we have the ability to basically you're kind of creating a PDF of what the shopping cart is. It's not really a quote document per se. It's really a snapshot of what's in the shopping cart. But we'll step through that. But basically, here are the instructions. When you're going through the checkout process, there'll be a create PDF button that shows up, and then that'll basically capture all the details that you've entered to this point, and what was in the shopping cart. It'll capture the shipping charges, and also if there's any tax as well. And then in the various sections, we'll see this again as we go through the demo. But there's IOM manuals kind of littered throughout in the various product sections. So you can download the current IOM manual at any point. And then this PowerPoint has the link to the YouTube training, which is for the most part kind of walking through what I'm walking through here. So, and then just to jump to the additional questions, um, does SPX Flow allow buy resell opportunities if it's easier for the end user customer? Yes, as part of the transaction. Please specify the customer contact, serial number, etc., that you're purchasing parts for, so we can best serve as well. So, we like all that information to be entered as part of the transaction. But yes, you can do buy resell. What products are on the e-commerce platform? All the main PMSL product lines, so BSER, 3850 Raven, PV2, MT, the PTE and PTER series, Unifirst as well. And then also rebuild mixer fixer kits for most of the product lines as well. The third bullet here, my company is tax exempt. How should I handle that? So, when if either you as a company is tax exempt, or the end user customer is, either way, just emailing the tax exempt cert to our CSR email address, then they can go into your account in e-commerce and just update it to be tax exempt. If there's a part that you're looking for that's not found on e-commerce, email the CSR team. Sometimes, depending on what the part is, we'll add it into e-commerce. Sometimes we might not if it's a exotic material or kind of a fabricated custom part, we might not add it in. But certainly the CSR team can generate a quote for you. But sometimes they might come back and say, oh, hey, good news, we've added it to e-commerce. Thanks for reaching out. Serial numbers. Why must I provide a serial number? So, serial number is not. Um, they are not required. Well, I should say it this way. It's nothing in the e-commerce system for PMSL is listed under a serial number, so there's not like a serial number lookup. Um, but by adding the serial number as part of your checkout in the serial number field, when the CSR team reviews the order, that allows them to kind of do a double check to make sure the parts that you're buying do go to that serial number, just to make sure that it wasn't a special, gold-plated oil seal or something like that. So that is a good check. And I saw the question came in, so let me jump over to that. Are you sharing tax exempt certs with Lightning? That is a great question, and Tim, I don't have the right answer, or I don't have the I'll say most recent answer for you. I think at first maybe we weren't, but that's a good question, and I imagine you're alluding to if you as a business and channel partner are already set up with Lightning? Do you have to kind of go through that setup again? Um, Let me get back to you if I can on that, Tim. I'd like to get a authoritative current answer. I think at the first time I asked that a month or 2 months ago, it was a separate setup. So we would need the tax exempt again. But let me double check on that, Tim. Thank you for the question. Just the last two bullets here to round out the presentation. How do the stock quantities compare to lead time shown? So the lead time is shown, it's as a reference in case the part's not in stock. If it is in stock, we typically ship within a few business days. So all the parts have a lead time, and if the part is in stock, then we should be able to ship that in a few business days. If it's not, then the lead time would be what the time frame is. And at the moment for international shipments, we're really only calculating shipping and such and taxes for North America and select Central American countries. So just reach out to the CSR team with international inquiries. And that concludes the PowerPoint. I kind of rushed through that because I think it'll be better to get into the demo. And I see another question came through. Let me read that. You mentioned that we have to put a serial number on the order. We have many customers who tell us they don't have it. What do we do then? So when that's and I've seen that before, Kathy. So it's a great question. Put to be determined or NA or something like that. You technically have to put something into the field. Now, I would say it behooves you, it behooves all of us to try to get that. So, as much as you can, try to obtain the serial number. But it's understandable. I know some nameplates are totally corroded away, and you can't even get the serial number. So, we're kind of only as good as the data we have. So try to get if you can, but if you can't, we'll work through that. And Rebecca, good question. Is there a minimum order? So if you're uploading a purchase order, it's a $200 minimum order. If it's paying with a credit card, it's $0 or $1, I guess. So no minimum for the most part with credit card. Any questions, other questions before I jump into the demo here? And Edgar, are only for standard parts. What about shaft, impellers, or special parts? So good question. So for the most part, e-commerce does not have special parts on it. Um, some of our impeller hubs are more standard in nature, so that might be on there. But any special parts or special shafting, especially the agitator shafting, and output shaft is generally more standard across the gearboxes. So that would be on here, but anything that's specific to that customer or that process, unfortunately, is not going to be on e-commerce. Good question. Okay, so just to jump into the demo, and great questions, guys. Please keep those coming. The jump into the demo here. I'm on the Philly Mixing website, and I'm going to click on Parts Store. Now, I've been in conversations with SPX Flow Marketing, and at some point this year, they're going to be migrating the PMSL website over to SPX Flow. And when they do that, they'll have a parts store link on the SPX Flow website as well. So right now it's on filamixers.com, but eventually it'll be on spxflow.com. And I just see another question here from Cassandra. If we already have an account, do we still have to use PayPal? Um, if we already have, is that a PayPal account or I might not be understanding your question. So let me try to give an answer. Um, Either way, you would need the e-commerce account to do the transaction. If you already have a PayPal account, that would be fine. Oh, an SPX account. Yeah, so the credit card payment would come through PayPal for us. So the basically the funds to PMSL, because just to go back to the PowerPoint, we are from a payment perspective, it is separate. It's Philadelphia Mixing Solutions. So right now payment, even if it's credit card, would go through PayPal, which is connected to the PMSL e-commerce, and that would eventually go to the Philadelphia Mixing Company. Does that answer the question? Okay, we'll keep moving. Let me know if I didn't. Okay, great. Thank you. So on the website here, and then we can also do shop.philandmixers.com, and then that'll bring us in as well. So right now I'm going to go ahead and just sign in with my personal, and then let me just cancel out of those. The main screen here, this is just the tutorial. If you just, it's linked to YouTube, you can click on that. Again, you guys are pretty much getting the live action tutorial. But go ahead and click on standard products and services. And this is how we're going to be able to search by the bubble drawings and kind of some product hierarchy, if you will. Um, Although if you have the part number already, you can go up into the search field, and I'm just going to pop in a part number I already knew. So if you don't know the part number, obviously you can't search for it. You'd have to find it the other way, but or if the CSR team gave you the number or something like that. But if I'll hit search here. And then right away that'd bring back, it was an oil seal. If we have an image of the product, that'll show up there too. And then I can go ahead, hit the shopping cart button. I actually see how many we have in stock. I see what the price is, the weight, and I go ahead and just add that to the cart. Since I'm looking at the search here, I could also search by description. And if I maybe let me type speedy sleeve and hit search. And what that's going to do is that brings back kind of a list of all the speedy sleeves that we have. Um, and then you can click on any one of those. So that's kind of a nice way to search as well. Let me go back to the home screen here. So standard products and services. We have a top entry, side entry, lagoon. PMSL services, there's really not too much in there. There was kind of a sale thing we were doing at one point, but and then lagoon, that would be the Raptor product for pulp and paper and whatnot. But let me just back out, and I'm going to go into side entry mixers at first here. And then we have the BSER, which is the current version of the side entry product, and then BSE. So I'm going to click on BSER series. And then it's really broken up by the various sizes. So size 6, 8, 10, and 12. If I wanted to download the IOM manual at this point, I would click on that. And then pretty easily you can save that as a PDF and you'd have access to that. So that's helpful. And then for the recommended spare parts, I'm going to look at one of these in a second, but just to click on recommended spare parts, you choose what size, and these are more are some of our more frequent sellers, the inner bearing kit and the outer bearing kit. So pretty quickly you could jump right in, get a size 8, and then you can add both of these to your cart. Or if you were quoting the customer on your own letterhead, I mean, here's the stock quantities, here's the price, here's the lead time. If it's out of stock, you can just grab this and run with it, and then you didn't have to talk to the CSR team at all. And again, I'll show you how to create a document from here. So let's go ahead and we'll add that to our cart. And before we go to our cart, just want to take a step back for a second, and I'm going to go over in the left tree and click top entry mixers. And so here's the current Raven series, the older 3800 series, and so on. I'm just going to go ahead and click Raven. Again, for the manual, I go ahead and click there, and I have the current version of the manual. So we maintain the revisioning there. We go ahead and click on 3853. Um, Now, if the end user customer or yourself, you're going through this, you do need to know a little bit of nameplate information. So is it a double reduction or a triple reduction? And we have those reduction ratios there. I'll go ahead and click on that. And then it's trying to help steer you to the right parts. So are you looking for a drive stand or mounting flange parts? Are you looking for the main assembly parts or ratio parts? So let's just say it's main assembly. And then from here, these are actually the images or the views that we have in the IOM manuals. So if you click on any one of these, that'll render a drawing. And again, like I was saying before in the PowerPoint, any one of these is actually a hotspot that you can click on. You can see what it is. You can add it to your cart. And I see a question came through. Let me. Do the kits list all the parts that are included in the kit on the screen? So that's a great question. Let me actually just jump to the cart here and I'll show you the description. Um, so the description kind of in a summary um, statement says includes flange, bearing, sleeve, ball bearing, shaft, etc. It doesn't actually break out and like give you a component list of the bill, like the bill material that goes into the kit, but it does kind of give you a summary description if that makes sense. Since I'm on here, so well, let me just take one second back. Again, the various products you can kind of search through here. If it's PV2, and then the ratio, you could jump on there, and then right away you either click through up here, or just kind of by using your mouse scroller and go down here. You can see what it is. We actually have the rebuild kit built right into there, so you can just click on it. So hopefully, um, hopefully this will be a valuable tool, especially for the legacy Lightning channel partners. Just kind of seeing kind of some of the inner parts of the PMSL products. Hopefully this will go a long way to kind of at least giving you kind of arming you to be dangerous, if that makes sense. So um, I'm going to jump into the shopping cart at this point. Any other questions for what we've covered so far? Mm. Yep. Let's see, Jeff. I noticed there was a choice of mechanical seals on the commerce recommended spare parts for side entry. Some of these say standard, some are flow serve, some are John Crane, some are material descriptions with no serial number lookup option reference. How do we know which to choose? Um, Jeff, I'll admit mechanical seals are a little bit, I'll say squirrely, trying to figure out which one to choose. And honestly, without the serial number lookup, it is a little bit difficult. Um, so in some cases, it would almost have to be, you need to know what the part number is. So unfortunately, the best answer is if you're not sure what part number, then reach out to the CSR team and then they can give you that part number. Now, if it's, maybe you're helping a customer that 6 months ago or a year ago bought the mechanical seal and they knew the part number, and now you're just jumping on to check what the price is. If you already know the number, it makes it quick. But certainly mechanical seals are a little bit tough. So I admit that. So good question. And then Edgar, if there's an actual customer with an account with Lightning, can they use the same one to place an order through the site? Some of them may have credit and just need to place the order, or do they need to create a new account and from some way? Um, so, I do want to emphasize that an account with Lightning, unfortunately, at the moment, this is just kind of where we are as an overall company. Philadelphia Mixing Solutions is a separate, LLC company. So, if they wanted to place an order, and especially with credit card, uh, they would be going through the PMSL e-commerce. Or they'd be transacting with the CSR team and sending in a purchase order that way. It would go to the Philadelphia Mixing Solutions brand, the LLC company, basically. So at the moment, the Lightning account setup doesn't really offer any additional benefit for what we're showing here. Um, Evan Burley, is there anything that you want to clarify there? I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth there, but I think that's the current understanding. Yeah, so Edgar, I'll confirm with Evan if that is different. I'll let you know. But I think that's the case. So thank you for the question, though. Okay, moving on with so we're in the shopping cart now, and as you can see, two of the parts are showing in stock, and then it's kind of an awful red, which is meant to draw attention to. But any items highlighted in red are out of stock. So the Speedy sleeve, we actually it's showing that there's a stock quantity of 0, and actually, that's interesting. I have my others are showing 0 too, which they shouldn't be. So I'll have to check on that. Um, but it's showing that it's not in stock. So the customer, you could proceed with ordering it, and then you'd basically be looking at the lead time. Or if you're just looking for, a stock shipment, you can delete that out or something like that. But um, you still go ahead and order it even if it's not in stock. So I'll leave that on there, and then I'm going to click proceed to checkout. If you did want to update a quantity, maybe you actually want 4 of that or whatever, you just highlight that, change the number, and then click update, and then that'll update for you. I'm going to move ahead. I'm going to click proceed to checkout. Okay. And so then this screen, this is kind of your main account information that you would have already registered with. I'm going to add the phone number there. Um, I can add a new shipping address by click add. Click here to add new. If it's not what I have up here, otherwise it'll default to be what the billing information is. Um, this is with the mixer serial number. So if I know that, I can just start typing it in. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll just choose what I already have there. If you don't know that, you can put NA or to be determined. But again, it's kind of in our best interest if you can obtain it to add it in there. Any special order notes, it could be a shipping note that the customer says, or something like that. Um, Payment terms, this is where you would actually select if it's PayPal or upload purchase order. So if we select upload purchase order, then down here we have a little upload button. Click choose file. And then I can go ahead and just click a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet would both work. And then just go ahead and then that would update and I can just go ahead and add that file. Um, or if it's credit card, you just leave as credit card. And again, when you would get to the point of actually checking out, it would open up the PayPal screen, and it should bring in the dollar value and everything in, and then you just have to check out as a guest with PayPal. I'm going to go ahead and click accept here for the terms and conditions, and I'm going to hit continue. And then now this last screen, this is kind of the review, check, your order information before clicking proceed to payment. So if it's a purchase order, and I click proceed to payment, then that would complete the order. The CSR team would get an email with all the details, and then they would respond back with a sales order acknowledgement, and you'd have an estimated shipping date, etc. Excuse me. If it was credit card that was selected, when you click proceed to payment, that would kick you to the PayPal screen. You'd have to finish the payment details in there. And then same thing, CSR would get an email and then they would respond back to you with an order acknowledgement and estimated shipping. If you got to this point and you were really just working to quote the end user customer, kind of hear all your details down here. Here's your shipping estimated, and then also sales tax. And again, if you're tax exempt, and this shows up here, send an email to the CSR team and ask that send them your tax exempt information. And I will check to see how that plays in with Lightning. I'll respond back to the group. But the main button, if you will, is if you want to create a PDF copy, you just go ahead and click that. And then it's really just everything you see on your screen is kind of what it's capturing. So the main details there, if you had separate shipping details, they would be under there. And then your pricing and everything. terms and conditions, etc. So at this point, you can save this, and you can send it to your customer. Now, the only I'll say drawback, and I'll say this is maybe where this form will not feel as good as an e-sales quote document, um, is the price. Right here, I'm just seeing the price, and this is the basically the list price that the end user customer would see. If you are signed in as a channel partner, so signed into your account, you'll actually see a buy resale price here as well. So obviously that's maybe not something that you want to share with your customers. So you can either kind of block that out or edit the PDF to edit that out, or use this and then send the end user customer a quote on your letterhead. There's kind of a couple ways of doing it, but again, admittedly, this might, if you want to just send a document to the end user customer from the system, um, the quoting out of e-sales might be your best bet. And that's the part, again, that we don't have at the moment, because PMSL parts are not in e-sales. Over the next few months, I'm hoping to get that squared away. So what you would probably end up doing is you would identify the part in e-commerce like this, and then if you didn't already know the part number, you'd kind of work through looking at the bubble drawing and everything, and then you just throw that into e-sales, and that would that would allow you to then generate your quote. So at this point, that just about concludes the functionality here. So thank you everybody for attending. I do want to just open it up for more Q&A if there's any other questions that were burning in people's minds. And again, this has been recorded, so you'll have a copy of the recording then, that you can view in the future as needed. Any questions? Okay, Edgar has, when a customer is placing an order, do the rep that account will receive an order acknowledgement showing a commission for that order. So, okay, great question. So if the order being placed in e-commerce, what that'll do is the CSR team will then enter the order into the ERP. And basically at that point, that'll generate all the documentation. So sales order acknowledgement. If the order was commissionable, there'll be a commission sheet that gets sent at that point. So a commission sheet per se won't be something that's automatically generated when you submit the e-commerce order, but it'll be part of the SOP that the CSR team follows to get that order processed in the system. So good question. Erica, will all this be incorporated into e-sales or will they be separate? So if I can wave a magic wand, I would love the setup that we have here in e-sales. So, you just go into e-sales, you'd be able to select, what you want here and then just kind of run with it. Um, I'm working with the e-sales team to kind of figure out what's the best steps forward as far as how quickly they could do that kind of stuff. Um, so at the moment, I think the quickest way that gets you at least a little bit better functionality is we're probably going to have the e-commerce link, the URL that takes you to this site in e-sales. So you would actually come into here, identify what the right part number would be. So maybe it's a PV2 housing gasket. You see that, and then you can copy paste that number back into eSales, and then from there you can generate a quote to the customer. So it's going to feel like there's a few steps involved. But I think that's kind of probably the quickest way of getting you all the functionality in the shortest amount of time. And then eventually, absolutely, we actually want this functionality for PMSL in eSales, and we actually want it for Lightning parts too. Kind of having this step by step ability to look at the drawings and stuff would be helpful. So good question. Chris asked, so if you enter an order and ship to is an end user that is tax exempt, and if you're using their shipping account on the initial acknowledgement, there's tax and shipping on there. Will that be removed once it hits an order editor's desk, or do we need to reach out when we get the acknowledgement? So, um, Yeah, so I'm just kind of thinking through that. The one thing that's a little, so if you're entering an order kind of on the customer's behalf, and it's kind of like a drop ship order then to that customer, um, you would want to get us the tax exempt information really as part of that order entry process. So um, now, if you're paying with credit card, you'd want to do it before you paid with the credit card, because then your credit card won't be hit with the either the shipping or the tax. Um, but if it's a purchase order, just pretty much as part of entering the order and submitting it, um, it would be good to email CSR and say, hey, here's the tax exempt information. So when the invoice would come out, it wouldn't be taxed at that point. So if it's credit card, you kind of want to do it right away so you don't get hit with the tax up front. But if it's going to be a purchase order that gets invoiced, anytime kind of around that order entry time, I think would suffice. So, Chris, I hope I answered that question. Good question. Great. Okay, well, just a couple more minutes. If anyone else has questions, I don't, appreciate everybody's time today. I don't want to keep anyone past more than we need to, but any other questions that anyone has?
Yeah, let me ask you this. Is the buy resale discount for the Plenty mixture parts the same as it would be for the Lightning parts?
Um, for the Plenty and the Lightning, I'm actually not
I mean,
100% sure. You meant Philly
my bad.
mixing, probably. Yeah,
Philly,
no, that's okay.
between Philly and Lightning.
Yeah, Mike, that's a great question. I think I know the answer, but let me come back to that. I think I need to double check on that before I answer that. I'm not sure off the top of my head, so I'm gonna I'll take a note on that, Mike, and I'll get back with you on that. Thank you. Any other questions? Let's see, Jose, are the estimated lead time firm or need to be confirmed by PM customer service? Um, so I would say that they are firm, and what I mean by that is like for instance. I'm sharing on the screen. There's a cylindrical roller bearing here, and there's a stock of 10 and a lead time of 23 business days. Um, the stock that's showing there, that does take into account any demand that we have in the system, and any incoming POs. So what it actually does is it reaches out and says, okay, today's the 25th, and then it goes out 23 business days. We have a query that goes out 23 business days and looks at what demand we have for the part number within that 23 business days, as well as what incoming purchase orders. So maybe we have 5 on the shelf, and then we have 10 coming in, and then we have demand for 5. So that'd be like 5 plus 10 minus 5 would get you to 10 again, if that made sense. So it's kind of a smart number that's looking at our inventory planning, if you will. So with that said, the stock quantities is pretty much a number you can take to the bank. And then if it's not in stock, I mean, this is a lead time for us to purchase and then us to receive into the system. So that should be a good lead time as well. Hopefully that answers the question. The one caveat I'll say is, you technically could be entering an order the same day, as somebody else for the same part, right? So this customer service team, when they get the order entered, processed, and send the order acknowledgement, that'll kind of be the confirmation of what the estimated shipping date is. So certainly, if it's different than what was quoted here, ask the question and talk through what happened, but it should be consistent with that. Okay, good.
Hey
Uh,
Dan,
Anyone else? Yeah.
hey Joel here.
Hey, Joel.
Just wanted to ask you as well. Like, say if they got some, you're looking at a kit, a rebuild kit, or even for like a side entry mixer, like a belt guard kit. If it may show zero quantity, but they have all the parts in stock to make that kit, Is that something that can be confirmed by the inside, or how would you, go about doing that?
Yeah, no, good question, Joel. So sometimes, yeah, we'll have a fixer mixer kit or a rebuild kit, um, where we actually have all the parts. We just didn't actually take the parts and put them together as a kit on the shelf as like one number, if you will. But all the individual parts are in stock. So the best thing to do there is to reach out to the CSR internal team, and they'll be able to confirm that for you. There, at the moment, there's no way of confirming that online. Good question. Any last questions here? Otherwise, I'm gonna, I think, turn you all loose and give you back 14 minutes. Okay. Well, I just want to again thank you for everybody for your time today. I really appreciate you sticking with me and working through this. And again, I think part of the messaging to everybody on the call is, SPX Flow is doing the best we can to make things easier for you to interact with us. So it's none of it's going to be perfect. And as you can imagine, we're merging the Lightning and PMSL brands. As there's been lots of conversations and trying to figure things out. So we're continuing to figure things out. We're continuing to solve for the opportunities in front of us. So this is kind of one of the first steps. Like I said, e-sales functionality. You'll be seeing PMSL parts in e-sales hopefully sooner than later. And then we're going to keep building that out. And please, if you have any questions or thoughts, just let us know, and we'll be glad to keep working on this and making improvements and such. So again, thanks everybody, and have a great weekend. Stay safe.